I wasn't born in light. I opened my eyes in fire. I didn't arrive into warmth. There were no gentle hands, no lullabies, no softness, just screams, smoke. A silence so violent it pierced louder than thunder. The world didn't welcome me. It warned me. From my first breath, I knew this place wasn't built for mercy. They say some children are born with stars in their eyes, but I was born beneath broken ceilings and shattered dreams, where the walls bled stories no one dared speak of. I came into a world where love was conditional, where smiles were knives wrapped in sugar, where every touch carried an expectation, and every promise ended in a blade. I was the ghost child, present but never seen, alive but never truly living. There was no guiding light, only flickers of fire, pain masquerading as purpose, abuse cloaked in tradition, and betrayal that wore my blood. You see, I didn't get to grow up. I had to survive. I had to become sharp just to stay soft. Had to become silent just to stay sane. They think hell is a place beneath our feet, but I know better. Hell walks beside us, sleeps in our homes, smiles at us from across the dinner table. My hell had a heartbeat. It laughed when I cried, and it fed off my confusion, off my hunger, off my need to be loved. But I learned to stop begging, learned to stop hoping. And when silence came, I embraced it like a blade I could finally wield. Everyone expects a soul born in hell to rot there, but some learn to breathe in the smoke. And I did. I inhaled every curse, every insult, every dismissal, held it in my lungs until it burned. And what warning? The king they tried to bury is rising, and hell is coming with him. Pain. They talk about it like it's a moment, a wound, a single event, but they don't know the truth. Pain is not a visitor. It's a tenant. It moves in, it decorates the walls, it makes a home in your chest and rearranges your soul. There were nights I couldn't sleep. Not because I wasn't tired, but because my demons were louder than my heartbeat. They sat at the edge of my bed, whispering failures, repeating names, showing me every face that smiled while stabbing. I learned to count betrayals instead of sheep. Pain isn't loud, it's quiet. It creeps in through the cracks in your smile. It hides behind the words, "I'm fine." It doesn't scream, it whispers, soft enough to confuse, sharp enough to cut. They broke me, not with fists, but with absence, with silence, with the way they looked away when I needed them most. The betrayal didn't come from enemies. It came from blood, from those who should have protected me. Pain didn't visit. It moved in. It carved its name into my bones. I remember sitting in rooms full of people and feeling like a ghost, speaking but not heard, crying but not seen. That's the worst kind of pain. Not the bleeding, but the invisibility. They told me to be strong, to man up, to let it go. But how do you let go of fire when it's the only thing keeping you warm? I didn't choose this. I didn't ask for the scars, but they came anyway. And eventually, I stopped trying to hide them. Pain taught me. It showed me the truth. That people love you until you're inconvenient. Until you speak too loudly, cry too openly, dream too big. Then, they disappear. One by one. Ghosts with familiar faces. You learn to tighten your jaw, to walk through steps. There comes a point when the screaming stops. Not because the pain has ended, but because it's useless. Because the world has gone deaf to your cries. I remember the shift. The moment I stopped asking why. Stopped expecting answers. Stopped reaching for hands that always pulled away. The silence came like a curtain, and I let it fall. Silence is not peace. It's the graveyard where hope is buried, where your questions echo, unanswered, where your prayers rise into empty skies and fall back as ash. I prayed once, to gods, to fate, to anything that might listen. But all I heard was my own heartbeat, thudding in the darkness, like a war drum for no army. Screaming didn't work. Crying didn't matter. So I went silent. I stopped talking, stopped explaining, stopped defending myself to people who only ever heard what they wanted to. I became still, so still, I could hear my soul breathing, and it wasn't begging, it wasn't broken, it was waiting. When silence surrounds you long enough, you either go mad or you go inward. I went inward, into the places no one wants to visit, into the mirror, where I saw a stranger with tired eyes and a storm behind them. I spoke to him, not with words, but with resolve. That's when it began, the rebirth. Not with noise, but with stillness. Not with applause, but with isolation. Because silence isn't weakness. It's the forge of gods. It's the cocoon where beasts are born. They left me in the dark. There was a moment, after the pain, after the silence, where something breaks. Not outside, inside. Not a scream, not a cry, just a shift. Like steel being bent in fire. Like a man shedding his own skin. They wanted to see me fall. So I fell. But only to rise as something else. I wasn't who I used to be. And thank God, that person died. That soft soul who forgave too much. Who waited too long. Who hoped too hard. He's gone now. And what rose in his place is colder, sharper, stronger. The forge wasn't a place. It was a phase. A purgatory between the dead and the damned, where thoughts become weapons and pain becomes blueprint. I spent nights in darkness, not weeping, but writing. Plans, routines, revenge carved into calendars, discipline sculpted from disappointment. I became obsessed, not with proving them wrong, but with proving myself right. That I was never weak, never worthless, just waiting. You don't heal in the light. You transform in the dark. You bleed. You crack. And then you build. From ashes. From echoes. From every "you can't" they ever whispered. Forging the mind in hell. Discipline, obsession, cold logic. I stopped running from madness. I walked into it, built a kingdom in it. And now it serves me. Madness didn't make me lose control. It made me take it back. No more chaos, only calculation. No more I didn't climb a ladder. I built one from bones and betrayal. They thought I was done, that silence meant surrender, that my back turned meant defeat. But I wasn't done. I was preparing. I rose from the ruins they left me in, not gently, not quietly. I rose like fire bursting through the cracks of the earth, untamed, unapologetic. No helping hands, no applause. Just me, bleeding, burning, building, step by step, day by day, grind by grind. I turned pain into practice, rage into repetition. While they laughed, I lifted. While they doubted, I studied. While they moved on, I stayed locked in. Not to catch up, but to leave them behind. Pain becomes power, gym, business, mindset, body, legacy. I took the ashes of everything they burned and forged armor from it. Every insult became iron. Every failure forged steel. They made me hard. They made me hungry. And I thanked them by rising. I rose when I had no motivation, only memory of how they treated me, of how they left. I rose because I couldn't stay on the floor, not one more second. No one gave me a crown. I carved it, with calloused hands, with bloodied fists, with the kind of obsession that turns boys into beasts. I didn't rise for validation. I rose because staying broken was no longer an option. Because something inside me snapped, and from that snap came clarity. Each scar becomes armor, proof of surviving every attempt to kill you. You see this face, these hands, they're not soft anymore. They've seen too much, felt too much. And now, they build presence, even when I'm not there. I am not who I was. I am not even who I appear to be. I am becoming, with every breath, with every repetition. with every choice I make when no one's watching. And when I rise for every version of me that was laughed at, overlooked, underestimated, abandoned. I carry them all, in my eyes, in my posture, in my rage. Because they are not weakness. They are my army. You didn't just survive. You outlasted them. There's a difference between those who win and those who remain. I didn't come to be popular. I came to conquer. This isn't about revenge anymore. This is domination. The quiet kind. The kind that doesn't shout, but echoes. The kind that leaves scars on your mind, not your skin. I don't need to scream now. I exist. And that's enough to make them tremble. I became what they feared. I became their consequence. They mocked me when I was soft, laughed when I stumbled, vanished when I fell. Now they watch, silently, from a distance, afraid to even speak my name, because they know. They know what I've become. I am not your friend, not your inspiration, not your redemption arc. I'm the warning. The shadow that rises when you think it's safe to sleep. I'm the storm you thought would never come. And now you hear my footsteps in the silence. I don't forgive. I replace. I don't explain. I execute. Mastery of self, body, mind, destiny. No one owns you now. Every ounce of control I gave to others, I took it back with interest. I own my emotions. I own my name. I own my outcomes. No one pulls my strings. No one dictates my path. I'm not led. I lead. You want to know power? Power is not screaming at the world. It's walking past your enemies and watching them lower their gaze. Not because you told them to, but because they feel what you've become. I don't fight for validation anymore. I war on every doubt, every weakness, every soft part of me that once begged for approval. That boy is dead. A king stands in his place. This is not an evolution. This is a declaration. I am here. I am unshaken. I am not the end of the story. I am the story. You crowned me in fire. You will kneel in my shadow. This is where the story breaks. Where the narrative they wrote dies screaming. This is not redemption. This is not healing. This is conquest. They never saw this version of me coming because they thought I needed light. They didn't realize I am the fire. I don't need a crown to rule. I wear scars like jewels. I speak silence like prophecy. Addressing the audience, you were born in hell? Good. That means you've already survived worse. You were betrayed, left behind, made to feel like you weren't enough? Good. That means the world is terrified of what you'll become if you stop shrinking. So stop. Stop apologizing for the fire in your blood. Stop taming the storm in your soul. Let it consume you. Let it crown you. They buried you in doubt, in debt, in heartbreak, in silence. So what? Grow anyway. From the ashes, from the gutter, from the madness. Because the most powerful kings aren't born in palaces. They crawl from graves. The warrior does not wait for destiny. He becomes it. I waited for a sign, for a miracle, for someone to save me. And then I realized no one was coming. So I became the damn miracle. I became my own salvation. I didn't just survive the storm. I became the eye of it. This world won't hand you anything. It will take and take and take until there's nothing left except rage and silence and the skeleton of who you were. And that's when you decide. You stay dead, or you build a throne from your own bones. I chose the throne. You are not broken. You are not lost. The war is over. Not outside, but within. The noise is gone. The screams. The doubts. The chaos. All that's left is stillness. After the fire, there is silence, but not peace. Control. This is not peace. Peace is for the content, the number, the dead. No. This is order. After every storm, after every blaze, after every throne is claimed, comes the silence of certainty. I no longer flinch, no longer react, no longer chase anything or anyone. Because everything I need, I already am. I don't need to prove myself. My existence is proof. Every scar, every step, every breath I take with this crown of fire on my head is a reminder that I won. They asked what I wanted: power, respect, applause, number. I wanted one thing: to become untouchable. Not by hiding, but by becoming everything they said I couldn't. Let them speak. Let them post. Let them whisper in rooms I've outgrown. I'm not trying to be remembered. I'm trying to be feared in silence. You are no longer reactive. You command. I don't argue anymore. I don't explain. I don't beg. I decide. I don't fight battles. I end them before they begin. That's the final form of power. Not muscle, not money. Presence. The kind that walks in quietly and shifts the entire room. The kind that doesn't threaten. It simply exists. I don't wear a crown for decoration. in fire. But I didn't burn. I forged my crown.